WCBI News at 10 starts now.
President Trump had a lot to say this weekend in a steady flow of tweets and a Saturday night speech that lasted nearly 75 minutes. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jory Talley. The president talked about his surprise summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, announced last week in the congressional special election in Pennsylvania this Tuesday. Errol Barnett has the story.
I really do. I think they want to do something. I think they want to make peace. I think it's time.
President Trump discussed his upcoming meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un while delivering a freewheeling speech in Pennsylvania, imploring supporters to give a chance to the dictator he previously referred to as Little Rocket Man.
South Korea came to my office after having gone to North Korea and seeing Kim Jong-un. And no, it's very positive. No.
Deputy Press Secretary Raj Shah says this administration's stance has had an effect.
Our policy is pressure. It's pressure from our partners and allies around the world. These have had an impact, and it's impacted Kim Jong-un's behavior. It's impacted his conduct.
We've gotten more than any previous administration.
CIA Director Mike Pompeo believes there has been progress, but the goal is for North Korea to agree to verifiable denuclearization soon.
A few months is still a fair characterization of where the regime sits today with respect to their capacity to reach the United States.
There really is no one in the administration who has face-to-face experience talking to North Koreans.
Joel Witt is a State Department veteran who has negotiated with the North. What is your biggest piece of advice to the president ahead of these talks?
Meet with people who have face-to-face experience talking to the North Koreans. Don't rely on people who are just reading briefing papers.
Now, beyond North Korean talks, newly announced tariffs, and legal questions surrounding an alleged affair with a porn star, President Trump is focused on his re-election, announcing at the rally in Pennsylvania Saturday night his campaign slogan would be updated to "Keep America Great!" Errol Barnett, CBS News, the White House.
Students, teachers, and parents from Florida's Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School rallied on Saturday on behalf of the victims of last month's mass school shooting there. The rally in March was organized in part by a Stoneman Douglas High School senior. She urged attendees to support state and federal increases on mental health funding as well as a ban on semi-automatic weapons. Several attendees say the school has a strong tradition of student and staff involvement and that the tradition will continue when it comes to changing state and federal gun laws. It's been a wet Sunday out there. It's now time to toss it on over to meteorologist Amanda Reynolds with our first look at our weather. Amanda, how's it doing outside?
Well, we've been mostly cloudy pretty much all day, and this evening, no exception. We're actually fairly breezy as well. We had gusts of up to 35 miles per hour here in Columbus just an hour ago. They've tapered down a little bit, but we're still seeing those strong northwesterly winds around 15 miles per hour. And that's leading to some fairly cool temperatures out there. Right now in the upper 40s, we'll be down into the mid-30s overnight tonight. So that cold air is going to push in once again, and we'll also continue to see those gusty winds, not only for tonight, but through the day tomorrow as well. But more sunshine is on the way. Details coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Amanda. The time to spring forward is here. This year marks the 100th year for daylight saving time and the 100th year our bodies have had to adjust to losing a sleep of hour. I talked to a health expert who tells us what the impacts of time changing has on our bodies. The daylight saving tradition started back in 1918 as a way to conserve coal during World War I. Springing forward to now, exactly 100 years later, our bodies are once again adjusting to the time change. Nurse practitioner Christy Robertson says research shows there are some health-associated risks with daylight saving time.
When you go to a different time zone and you feel a little bit of jet lag, that type of thing. Also, research shows that there's an increase on the Monday after of heart attacks and strokes. Surprisingly enough, the next day it goes right back down.
Some may wonder how changing the clock an hour ahead could spring on a heart attack.
What research shows is it seems to be that people are stressed about worrying they're going to oversleep, they're worried about it being Monday, and just that added stress can be enough to trigger one of those events.
Robertson also says there seems to be an increase in car accidents the Monday after the time changes.
But then research shows that after that Monday, when people get more acclimated, it seems that the risk goes down because we have more daylight and people are driving a little bit safer.
Although there are some negative health impacts with daylight saving time, there are also some positive ones.
When we fall back and we have more dark and less daylight, people tend to have more depression. When we spring forward, people tend to respond a whole lot better with mood.
Robertson encourages everyone to use the extra hour of daylight to be productive as possible and to get more active. She also suggests going to bed a little earlier this week to adjust to the time change. We spoke to area residents earlier today to find out how they prepared for the time change and how they are handling it. Here's what they have to say.
I kind of prepared myself for the day. I knew it was coming. Laid down a little bit early. Still didn't get that much sleep, but I was ready when daylight came.
It slipped up on me. I was thinking it was coming around Easter time, so I wasn't prepared.
I can say I really didn't know it had changed over, but I did go to bed early last night.
Went to sleep late, woke up early.
I had to go early to bed and adjust myself for the next day, and my wife had to remind me. That's all I had to do.
November 4th marks the date where time will go back an hour and we can again gain that extra hour of rest. Individuals and corporations throughout Mississippi who have made diversity a top priority were honored in Tupelo Saturday evening. The 5th annual Our Mississippi Honors drew hundreds to the Bancorp South Conference Center. 10 corporations, several individuals, and a Businesswoman of the Year were recognized for encouraging diversity and inclusion. Guest speaker for the evening was Lewis Gossett Jr. He is the first African-American male to win the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role in An Officer and a Gentleman.
Well, it's important that all these organizations that are honoring diversity they're on the right track. So is my industry, Screen Actors Guild, the Academy. So is National Football League, baseball, basketball. Everywhere we're going in the right direction. Let's make sure take a deep breath. Congratulate them for their diversity.
There's not an ounce of the globe that our company doesn't cover through our organization and through our dealer network. And we feel that the reflection of our customers in that diverse world should be also a reflection of the people that we hire and that we work with throughout the globe.
Anytime we can get together and work together and try to reach a common goal, it just makes us all better. We've learned to respect each other and our differences and work towards a common goal to make Mississippi better.
Dak Prescott also received a Legendary Achievement Award, but he had a prior commitment. Our Mississippi Honors is a project of Our Mississippi magazine. Coming up after the break, one local community works to give area troops a proper send-off. We have that story and more when we return.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Jory Talley.
Welcome back, everyone. As troops from all over the Magnolia State prepare to embark on an overseas mission, one Starkville group is doing something special before they deploy on Monday. Our Victoria Bailey has the story.
Coping with deployment isn't easy for anyone, but especially the women and men in uniform.
It's a bittersweet time, of course. None of us want to leave, none of us want to go, but yet at the same time we have a job to do.
Chaplain First Lieutenant Scott Edwards is a part of the 2nd 114th Field Artillery Battalion.
We'll be leaving soon, going on a deployment to the Middle East, and we're very excited about that. The soldiers have been working super hard over the last several years, honestly, to get ready to this point. And we're excited about being able to go forward and do the mission that we've been given.
There'll be several hundred troops to hit the road in this deployment. And Family Readiness Group Officer and Scott's wife, Lydia Edwards, says that's why rolling out the red carpet was a necessity.
On Monday, we're getting ready to have a send-off. So we'll start at the armory and getting ready, loading the buses, and they can start lining the streets around 10:30, 10:45, and they'll actually leave at 11 a.m. They can park at the armory all the way down to Highway 12. So we're hoping for 11 o'clock dismissal.
The troops officially leave on Monday for more training, then actually deploy later this year. Edwards says he is so excited to know the troops are coming from a great base of support.
It's humbling and it's very honorable that the community wants to come together and give us a big send-off like that. You know, we have a lot of folks that will be leaving for a long time, and just to see the community come together and wish us well, it means a whole lot.
It's a bittersweet time, and we're going to miss them. And so we just hope that our families remember that, and our soldiers remember that our community is supporting them and that we love them so much.
The Family Readiness Group will be raising funds throughout the year to send care packages to the troops. If you're interested in donating, head on over to our website at WCBI.com.
We'll feature more sunshine through the day tomorrow as temperatures make it into the mid-50s, but we'll stay like this for much of the work week, but there is a warm-up as well as some rain in store. Details right after the break.
Your first alert forecast with meteorologist Amanda Reynolds.
Well, we were mostly cloudy this afternoon. We did clear out most of the rain early this morning, but we've brought in its place some pretty gusty winds and some much cooler air. All of us down into the mid and upper 40s right now, but we're still seeing mostly cloudy skies. A few areas starting to clear out a little bit, but notice the winds across most of the area seeing anywhere from maybe 10 miles per hour, even up to 25 miles per hour. Sustained winds, we're seeing gusts even higher than that. We had quite a bit of gusty wind last night as well, especially back into parts of the Delta and just north of Jackson, but we also had quite a few hail reports. We had several severe thunderstorm warnings, not only back into Arkansas and the Delta for some fairly large hail. There was even some ping pong and egg size hail that fell back in parts of extreme southeastern Arkansas. We also had a few reports of hail just to our north. We had a confirmed report of pea-size hail in Pontotoc, as well as a little bit larger just nearby Guntown. So we had several storm reports yesterday evening, but fortunately all of that has cleared out of our area. We'll be down in the mid-30s tonight, so we'll continue to see those clouds through the overnight hours and that cooler air really starting to filter in. Those gusty winds helping with that, and strong out of the northwest, around 15 to 25 miles per hour, and even some gusts up to 30 and 35 miles per hour as we go forward through the overnight hours. Once we get to tomorrow and the rest of the work week, we'll continue to see plenty of sunshine. The trade-off with that is we'll keep temperatures well below average, at least through the middle of the work week, and then once we do in fact start to warm up, we will have the chance at some more rain as yet another front looks to push through for next weekend. Again, tomorrow looking fairly nice. We'll start out in the upper 30s. Again, we'll keep those strong northwesterly winds. They'll slowly start to taper down by the time we get to the afternoon hours. We'll be in the mid-50s, so again, significantly cooler, but not too bad out there as well. Again, that's going to be pretty uniform across much of the southeast. That rain going to continue to push up along the east coast by the time we get to tomorrow. So again, futurecast, that rain pushes out and we'll keep a few of those clouds through the overnight hours. Clear skies for not only Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as high pressure settles over the region once again, but by Friday night, Saturday, and through the day on Sunday, we will have the chance at some more rain as yet another cold front looks to push into the region, and that could actually spark some stronger storms by the time we get to Saturday night and Sunday. So here looking forward at the 7-day forecast, again, we'll see a mix of clouds and sun for the day tomorrow, but then plenty of sunshine for the remainder of the work week as those temperatures overnight drop down close to freezing. Well, I mentioned we'll have yet another cold front pushing through next weekend, but fronts are an aspect of weather that meteorologists talk about all the time. Well, today in this week's WCBI WeatherWorks, we explore what fronts really are.
Last week, we talked about different types of air masses and how fronts are the boundaries between them. There are 4 basic types of fronts: cold fronts, warm fronts, stationary fronts, and occluded fronts. The front type is determined by which type of air is advancing forward. When there is a cold front, that means that cooler, drier air is pushing into an area. These fronts generally create lift in the atmosphere that can provide energy for severe storms ahead of the front. However, behind the front, the weather tends to be fairly calm as higher pressure pushes into the region. When a warm front moves through, it means that warmer, more humid air is pushing into an area. When warmer, less dense air approaches cooler air, it goes up and over the cooler air, which is called overrunning. This tends to result in larger areas of heavy but non-severe rain. A stationary front occurs when both warm and cold air is trying to push towards one another, creating a stalemate. This generally results in prolonged rain over a region for several hours to even a few days. An occluded front occurs when one front overtakes another. This results in one air mass getting pinched off from the low. These are usually found near a very mature low-pressure system and is often found in the northern U.S. With this week's WCBI WeatherWorks, I'm meteorologist Amanda Reynolds.
March Madness is officially underway. Well, sort of. The SEC title and the postseason. Next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel.
Selection Sunday couldn't begin without wrapping up the conference championships. Polar opposites on the line in the SEC championship. Kentucky looking for its fourth straight SEC title. Tennessee looking for its first title in almost 40 years. Vols versus the Wildcats, 2 versus 4 for the SEC finale. Three-point shooting was yet again the money for Kentucky. Look at Gilgeous-Alexander off the window for 3, keeping it going. Wayne Gabriel for 3. We saw this against Alabama on Saturday, and it just kept on going for Kentucky. This time, it's Kevin Knox gets in on the action with the left wing triple. So Kentucky up 11, but here comes Tennessee right back. Jordan Bone's going to tie the ball game up with a pretty floater in the middle of the lane. So tied in the early second half. Here comes Kentucky. One more time from 3. Kevin Knox with a hand in his face. Nylon. Kentucky retakes the lead, but here comes Tennessee right back. Jordan Bone with a 3 of his own. It makes it a 1-point ball game. And Tennessee one more time. Lamonte Turner from the parking lot. Nothing but net gives Tennessee the lead, but it wouldn't last long. Look at the missed box out on Gabriel. Tennessee destroyed Mississippi State on the boards, but the mistake would be costly for the Vols. Fans can't believe it, and Kentucky would coast to the end. Gilgeous-Alexander step back jumper, onions. Kentucky wins 77-72. All right, so let's talk some March Madness. Alabama was one of those teams that were on the are we in, are we not bubble. I don't know why, but after the SEC tournament performance, it seemed common sense, and the selection committee agreed. If you were watching TBS earlier today, it didn't take long to find out that the Crimson Tide were in the field of 68 as an at-large bid. And now to the matchup. Crimson Tide are entering as a 9 seed. They'll be facing off against a very talented Virginia Tech seed. Winner of that goes on to possibly face the #1 overall seed in Villanova. There's a look at the East region for Alabama, Wichita State, and Marshall at the bottom. A very tough region for the Crimson Tide. They'll tip off against Virginia Tech in Boston. There's some happy Crimson Tide guys. They'll be tipping off in Boston coming up on Thursday. And as for Mississippi State, the Bulldogs miss out on the field of 68. But the Bulldogs, their basketball season is not over yet. The Bulldogs are tabbed as the 4 seed in the NIT. Take a look. It'll be a rematch from that exhibition game from last October against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska winning that game 76-72. But head coach Ben Howland says it's 2 completely different teams since the first time they met back in October. So this will be the first time the Bulldogs are entering the postseason since 2012. And Howland says, although it's not the big dance, his team can gain some valuable experience.
We're excited to be in postseason. I mean, it's it's a good step for us. I mean, we're disappointed it's not the NCAA tournament, but the NIT is a great tournament. And you start looking at the field and you look at some of the teams. I mean, there's definitely some teams in this tournament that are very worthy of being in the NCAA tournament, and are teams that are going to be very tough. Nebraska, beat Michigan by 20. Nebraska has had some really fine wins in their league, and they're a senior-dominated group of guys. They're older. I think it's great, especially for a young team. You remember that we don't have a senior. We don't have anybody who's ever played in postseason. This is a great experience.
Howland also said freshman guard Nick Weatherspoon will not be active against Nebraska. CT scan and an MRI results didn't result in any kind of significant injury, but Weatherspoon has been diagnosed with a hip contusion. Tip-off inside the hump is set for 8 p.m. Wednesday on ESPN2. So let's take a look at how the SEC fared in postseason basketball. Not just a football conference anymore. 8 SEC teams invited to the NCAA tournament. Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Missouri all making the field of 68, and 3 schools were invited to the NIT, Mississippi State as well as LSU and the Georgia Bulldogs, but the Georgia players voted not to accept the NIT invitation, so their basketball season is over. And coming up next in sports, some baseball in action. A beautiful, well, gloomy day at the Dude, but highlights will make you smile. Coming up next in sports.
WCBI coverage of the SEC tournament is brought to you by OCH Regional Medical Center, advanced medicine, compassionate care, and Visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
Welcome back here to WCBI Sports. Mississippi State baseball looking to stay hot over its past week, a chance to take home another weekend series win. It was a gloomy day at the New Dude today, but a win would brighten everyone's afternoon. Bulldogs would be down by 1 early on, but not anymore. Tanner Allen jammed, but a blooper is going to land in the outfield thanks to a collision from some outfielders. That was an ugly collision, but outscore Hunter Stovall. Outfielders would be hurting for certain, but the game is tied until the 4th. Best name in college baseball, Rowdy Jordan takes this one for a ride to right field. 3-run jack to right field, makes it 4-1 Mississippi State. Still in the inning for the Bulldogs. Hunter Stovall is going to deliver with a nice chopper right up the middle. That's going to land safely. It's going to bring a play at the plate, but Jake Mangum jumps in for the, he's safe at the plate. Doesn't matter. Stovall gets the RBI, so it's 5-1 State. And look at this. Top of the 7th, Jake Mangum says, no soup for you. This was top of the 7th, runner on, so the tying run was at the plate for Utah Valley, but Jake Mangum, an incredible grab one more time. Look at the yards he gathers for that one. Heck of a grab in center field. Mississippi State gets the W, 5-3. They're now 10-6 on the season. Ole Miss trying to stay red hot, going for another weekend sweep against Eastern Illinois. Rebels down early, but not anymore. Cooper Johnson with the equalizer. Will Golson scores. Start of a big second inning for the Rebs. 2-1 now. Rebels tack on one more. Ryan Olenek delivers with the bases loaded. 2 more men in the beautiful powder blues cross home plate. 4-run score makes it 5-1 Ole Miss after the inning. And then Chase Cockrell. Man was on a mission today all by himself. 1 solo jack in the 4th inning. That'll say sayonara. Cockrell's second of the season, and some deja vu in the 6th. Cockrell's going to launch 1 more solo jack. This one, as I mentioned, deja vu, about the same exact spot. Look at the one guy who's going to have his own Swayze shower there. I respect for that guy, just one guy throwing it up there. Celebrating Ole Miss baseball. Rebels win 7-3. They get the sweep. They improve to 15-1 on the season. West Point native DeMarcus Bynum takes home the title of being Mississippi's Open Karate Champion. Remember, we did a story with DeMarcus back in 2016 of him representing the United States in the World Martial Arts Games. So DeMarcus keeps on doing work on the martial arts circuit. Keep up the great work, DeMarcus, doing West Point proud. That'll do it for sports. The last look at your forecast is next.
Clouds will slowly start to clear as we go forward through the day tomorrow. Tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, all going to be in the mid-50s, and then we'll begin our slow warm-up as we get to the end of the week. But we will have the chance for more rain for the weekend.
Oh, well, everyone have a great week. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.